Well, hello everyone. Daryl Black here. Just wanted to hop on as I'm onboarding a bunch of great folks into the transformational leadership program starting next week. I'm just reviewing the philosophy and approach for TLP, and I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about the fact that we need to simplify and then amplify. Simplify and then amplify. Now, what exactly do I mean by that, and why does that matter? Well, the reality is we, as human beings, and maybe I'll just speak for myself, but I don't think so, we tend to overcomplicate things. We take something that's really, really simple and we complicate it. And I think that that's just part of our, prefrontal cortex, the CEO part of the brain, saying, you know what, let's do simple. So let's complicate it a bit. Let's complicate processes. Let's complicate technology. Let's complicate relationships. Let's complicate our finances. Let's complicate everything, because we have this emotional need maybe to think if it's too simple, then something's wrong. Or if nothing's wrong, some of us actually want to make something wrong. So I would encourage you to look at all aspects of your life, but for me, leadership, and simplify and then amplify. We have been kind of overcomplicating society for years and years and years. And what I mean by that is, if you go back to our, cavemen and women ancestors, they didn't have any leadership training. They didn't have any financial, any bank accounts. They didn't have ISO or Six Sigma, or when they were figuring out how to work in their cave, they didn't have architectural drawings. They didn't have project plans or any of that other stuff. Now, while important, of course, my point is that we've ignored simplicity. And from a leadership perspective, I think it's really, really important that we go back to basics. We go back to fundamentals. We go back to what works, and we're talking about human behavior. We're talking about things that are in our DNA in terms of hierarchy and those sorts of things. And we've ignored that. As a society, we have overcomplicated our relationships. We have overcomplicated our workplaces. We have overcomplicated our volunteer organizations, our coaching, all of that stuff. So ultimately, leadership comes down to positively influencing somebody else. Positively influencing somebody else. So what does that mean? Well, ultimately, it means our ability to connect with somebody. It means ignoring overcomplicating. And I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of Simon Sinek, John Maxwell, Robin Sharma, Mel Robbins, Brene Brown. The list goes on and on. If you look at my Facebook feed, that's pretty much, Jay Shetty, Lewis Howes, Tim Ferriss. Again, I can go on and on and on. Now, while I certainly appreciate those approaches, we need to trust and we need to create circles of safety and know your why and all the, five rules of leadership, all of those things. I absolutely recognize that. But what is missing is literally, what does that mean on the ground? What does that mean when I need to lead somebody? What does that mean when I'm influencing somebody else? We overcomplicate. So what we need to do is we need to simplify, get back to basics, do less, but do it better. Simplify, do less, do it better, get back to fundamentals, and then that will amplify. Because the reason we don't see the impact that we want in our workplaces, for example, from a leadership perspective, is a lot of times we are shiny object syndrome, right? So we have a new thought leader, or we have new philosophy or new process that's introduced, and boom, we're all in on that. And then squirrel, and then boom, we're on to something else. And what all that's doing is it's distracting us from the fundamentals and the basics of what influence really is. It's building trust in the moment. It's about managing our emotions in the moment. It's about building rapport in the moment. And I get that trust is important and vulnerability, all those other things. I totally understand that. But what's missing is, how do we do that? We've overcomplicated it. Now, I will say, while I rattled off a bunch of people that are amazing in the leadership space, trust me, I'm not bashing them because I'm a huge follower. A couple people in particular I really like, Mel Robbins and Brene Brown. And There's a particular reason, because they know at the fundamental level, at the tactical level, what it takes to lead and build rapport and connection. Mel Robbins is a really good example, where her 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just do it, right? Just do it. That's something that's tactical. And if you haven't read her book or listened to her audiobook, I'd highly encourage that. Brene Brown talks about needing to rumble. And what that is the art of the difficult conversation, which we cover in TLP. She talks about how to do that. That's the kind of stuff that we need in this world. It's not the latest philosophy. It's not the latest process. It's not the latest anything. We overcomplicate it. So I would just encourage you this week, if you can, look at what you can simplify with regard to your life, you know, and leadership and at the workplace. Are you making shit too hard? Because if it's too hard, then you procrastinate and you don't do it. Or if you're trying to do a lot of things, you do none of them well. You're jack of all trades, master of absolutely none. And in fact, you're probably poor at a few of them. Focus, 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 get back to fundamentals. Do less, but do it better. Simplify, and then you'll see the amplification happen. Then you'll see the influence happening. So if you're wondering why you're not getting traction in the workplace, why people aren't listening to you, why you know, you've got conflicts on the team and all of those things, it's probably because you're not present. It's probably because you're trying, your head's too far into your laptop, onto your Outlook. It's you're watching YouTube videos or you're reading books. At the end of the day, simplify and then amplify. And I promise you, folks, I promise you, that's been my approach for 30 freaking years, dealing with crisis and crisis leadership situations. I never overcomplicate it because, frankly, I'm a pretty simple guy. So if it works for me, it can work for anybody. So anyway, I just wanted to jump on. Thank you very much for a couple of the reactions there. I appreciate that. And yeah, spread the word on this. Simplify and then amplify. And feel free to comment if this resonates with you, or you know what, maybe it doesn't. But anyways, let's have a conversation. Get back to some basics. Hey, how does that sound? Give me a thumbs up, or a heart would be better, or a thumbs down if it doesn't resonate with you. I totally understand. But let's open this conversation and simplify and then amplify. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.